You don't have to be an Einstein to write. You do not have to be a genius. Don't sit there and try to script it out first. Find the sound bites. What I want to do now is talk about how to do basic scripting and how to script a marketing video. This could be a short little kind of testimony about your company, or it could be a news piece. And we're going to use this as an example. This is going to be covering a fire scene where there were some victims. First thing is you don't write the script first. You don't sit there and try to be Einstein. The fire happened here, blah, 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 and then find material that fits into your script. That's very difficult. Really what you do is you write to the sound bites. You write to the bites. They tell you what to write. So first what you have to do is look at your material, and if it's a minute and a half news piece, you're just looking for maybe 4 sound bites, maybe 5. That's all you're going to have time for. A sound bite is just a little element from inside a larger interview. So you're going to go through and you're logging your footage, and really you're going to just circle and write stars next to the material you think helps tell this story the best. Then what you do is you'll just organize them. Maybe you'll use index cards. Maybe you'll just write a flow chart and just put the order of what you think the sound bite should be, the order. And generally, open with your best material. It may not make logical sense, but you can back into it. But whatever your strongest material is, if you can open with that, the strongest soundbite, I'd suggest opening with it. Now, when I'm writing, it's all based on the actual soundbite. And what I do, all my narration snakes around each one of these and sets each one up. And what makes it easy is I know what I'm writing. Let's say the first bite is the fireman. I know that my sound, my narration, or my reportage has to set this person up. And I know the next thing I write has to set up the Red Cross worker. I'll give you an example in a second. So when I mean snake your narration around the bites, put the bites down first in the order you want them appear, and then you write to the bite. So it snakes it around. For example, maybe it's a fireman, and the first thing he says, when we arrive, things look bad. So maybe my reportage begins with the simple who, what, where, when, and why, right? 3-alarm fire, Northwest Chestnut Street, fireman, blah, 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 was there. Boom, cut to that. And I know I'm writing that because that's the first bite. Now the second bite is the Red Cross worker talking about shelter for some people. So I know my next scripting for my reportage will be 9 people were left homeless and the Red Cross took care of them. Boom, there's the Red Cross worker. Now, my next soundbite is the victim, correct? So my reportage may be, Joe was one of the victims and talk experience. Boom, cut to that bite. Then my last bite might be the fireman talking about how it could have been prevented by it was smoking in bed. So my reportage may say, and this fire could have been prevented, fireman blah explains. Boom, smoking in bed is very dangerous. And then how do you get out of the piece? Well, maybe you're doing a live shot, so you're tossing back to the anchor, right? Maybe it's just your clothes on camera. And if you're doing a feature piece, maybe you'll use a button. And what is a button? A button is some kind of phrase that sums it all up, buttons up the piece. So maybe it's if you're doing a piece about smoking in bed, it's a longer piece that it's kind of a feature story. You might end with slow-mo of the victims hugging each other and underneath a little button that talks about how lucky they are to be alive, right? Then they dissolve back to the studio and maybe you have a little banter with the hosts and they talk about, oh yeah, we all have to be more careful about smoking. Is this clear to everyone? So the idea is you don't have to be an Einstein to write. You do not have to be a genius. Don't sit there and try to script it out first. Find the sound bites. Right here, it's a news piece. We have only time for 4 quick sound bites. Find the sound bites, put them in the order that you want, if possible, opening with your strongest material, and then your narration sets up each one of these sound bites. It snakes around it.
I've been shooting professionally for over 30 years, so I know how to take photographs. I didn't know anything about editing. I knew even less about video storytelling. And I think the DV workshops not only taught me basic editing and overcame my fear of Final Cut, but really taught me how important storytelling is. By doing it hands-on for 4 days intensive hands-on workshop, really enabled me to master it and produce really good professional looking videos.